Hi friends, Elise Anmchara here for Anmchara Astrology. How are you? It's a new moon in Libra today. How are we feeling about relating, about partnerships? There's a bit of traffic in the background. I do apologize, but I do enjoy being out here in nature for these kind of videos, so please bear with me. Today, we have a lot of support as well as a lot of review over partnership, equality, fairness, values, and the new moon is a new beginning. The new moon is also going to conjunct Mercury, also in Libra, which happens to be retrograde. So we're actually having a chance to look back at what the nature of relating has been for us over these past 3 weeks, 4 weeks before Mercury went retrograde, and really what it relates to, like what kind of things have come up. What instances have you been like, that wasn't right, that wasn't fair, I should have acted differently, I'm not getting what I need, I'm not able to voice what I need very comfortably. All these kind of issues come up with Mercury in retrograde in Libra. And another nice thing is that there is actually a conjunction between Mars and the Sun in Libra. So, I'm sorry, the moon and the moon and the sun are definitely conjunct. That's what makes the new moon. But the moon and Mars in Libra. Mars is not in its home in Libra, but it's doing the work that needs to be done, and it's actually getting and giving the support to the moon to actually get to the bottom of all of these issues that we have coming up regarding relationship and equality and fairness. This also has to do with social equality, okay? Libra, the scales, is also a sign of justice, and there's a fair amount of information and feedback that we're getting in terms of what is right and what is not right, what is fair and what is not fair in terms of justice and social justice. It comes back to the individual level, though. This is what is so incredible. This is why we have the blessing of having these transits happen and take place while Jupiter and Saturn are in the sign of the individual and also the humanitarian of Aquarius. How does my individual experience relate to the experience that we are having as a collective? What kind of injustices that I have faced, that I have been wounded by, that I continue to take with me into each and every partnership and relationship and act of service, every element of my life, and how that relates to the injustices and the acts of inequality, inequity that we see in society. I put up a post, a story on Anmchara Astrology, as well as Elise Anmchara on my Instagram, and I used the song Related to What, and it is all about social and justice and the lack thereof, the lack of justice. It's from an album called This Is Madness, which is exactly what we have been operating in for so long. I mean, our entire lives, but all of our parents' lives, our grandparents' lives. I mean, we've literally been living in madness and in systemic inequality for thousands of years. The significance of Pluto going direct, the soul. Pluto represents the soul of humanity and the soul's will. I always mention that the fact that as a humanity in our modern times, with all of our insights and science and whatever, we still can't figure out or understand or come to agreement whether or not Pluto is a planet. Of course it's a fucking planet. It is like the planet. It is the soul. The soul is so essential to life on Earth, to physical wellness, okay? And by not accounting for it, asking yourself, does spirit, does soul exist or not? That just like it's just the wrong question. It's just the wrong question. Really, Libra, and with all this Libra energy, and with this kind of mad scientist energy of, you know, these of Saturn and Jupiter being in Aquarius, we are finding out the truth by way of our own individual experience, and tinkering with our physical environment to find out how we relate to it actually, not the way that's been prescribed. But yeah, back to this is madness related to what? Not being able to understand, or giving yourself the time to understand that wounds that you have around your own self-worth and identity, and how it relates to others, or what is relatable about yourself to others, and the pain that we feel when we want to relate to others, and yet we don't even show our whole selves. We're so uncomfortable showing our whole selves. We're so afraid of what might exist in the shadows that we just present this, you know, veneer, or we just run away from relating altogether. And both of those things are incredibly detrimental, not just to us as individuals, but to the collective. We need each other. The whole purpose of relating is to learn and understand more about the self through a committed, reciprocal, honest, and open give and take with other. We can't see our own shadow. We have to rely on other as a mirror of the self, to understand, oh, this thing that you're sad about, it's not bad, it's beautiful. This quote unquote imperfection or undesirable aspect of self is the thing that I love you most for. And then soft focusing that kind of recognition, that understanding, that aha moment, like, oh, that which they think is unlovable in themselves is the thing that makes me love them the most, makes me feel so close to them, makes me feel comfortable to open myself up to them. And then you get to take that moment and say, oh, I should show myself that same level of love and acceptance. I also do this to myself, where that there are valuable parts of self and there are not valuable parts of self, when the whole value is in the whole and its interconnectedness, you know, you can't separate it. Oh man. So Pluto coming back online, woo! Pluto going direct means this period of reconstruction and reorganization of the soul is complete, and now we go about doing the work of instituting the soul's will. Now that we know, now that we've had that internal reconfiguration, as Kai Pacha would say, alchemical transformation, as the experience, the change, the alchemical transformation that is taking place inside is now complete, we now go forth into changing our outside experience because of the internal change that has taken place. So I definitely hope you guys have a wonderful new moon in Libra. You are all relatable. In fact, the most unrelatable parts of self, like, why don't you just lean into it and see what you attract with it, you know? Be like, you know what? I like Pop-Tarts and frogs, you know? I'm really into frogs or something like that. Like, lead with it and see what kind of, like, kindred weirdos you actually bring into your life, attract to you through that feminine principle of magnetizing to self that which it feels is most valuable to it. Instead of going about changing yourself for reasons that you don't exactly know or not even comfortable identifying, but that all lie in the sense that there must be something wrong with me because I experienced rejection and abandonment in certain ways as a young person, as a child, or perhaps even from past lifetimes. And there's a opposition early this morning, you know, hours before the new moon took place. There's an opposition between this new moon in Libra and Chiron in Aries. Chiron in Aries represents the wound of the soul, that has to do with identity, and it has to do with abandonment. It's like when we were all part of that nebulous goo of spirit energy in Pisces, we, needed to individuate in order to experience something on an individual level for our individual soul's evolution, which then supports the evolution and the understanding of the overall total, spirit, that which we all come from. But then we get to Earth and we're like, oh my God, I've been abandoned by spirit. Fuck, I'm cut off from my love, from my resources, from mother, from, And then we go about just like internalizing that sense of wounding instead of sitting in it, sitting with it. And when you have an available person or partner to express that wound with, sharing it with them and listening to them when they express to you their own wound around identity, around abandonment. Partnership is sacred. It's an integral part of existence. And our inability to relate to each other in any meaningful way limits the spiritual and the physical existences from relating to each other in the way that they are designed to relate to each other. Someone I know just recently, just this morning, texted me and asked me if the new zodiac signs were real, because 13th zodiac sign Ophiuchus has been thrown into the mix by a bunch of muggles again. Stressing me out. No, but for real, I honestly don't mind getting questions about the 13th zodiac sign. I actually talk about the 13th zodiac sign with a number of my clients, and I am tempted to put a Patreon or some kind of special download lecture conversation, something about the significance of the 13th zodiac sign. Now, the reason I don't mind getting questions about the 13th zodiac sign, even though, listen, sun sign astrology is like what got us here in the first place. That bastardized, limited view of astrology that just tells you to focus on the sun and that there's nothing else beyond the sun. It's all the answers are there in the sun. Instead of looking at the interrelatedness, the relationship between all of the planets, all of these celestial bodies, and life on Earth. So when someone's like, oh my God, is the 13th zodiac sign real? My short question is, you don't even know the first 12. Why the fuck do you even care? Okay? But the cool thing is, the serpentbearer, the actual archetype that it represents, and the person in mythology, Asclepius, who is known as the serpentbearer, who's a great healer, he saw and put into practice the relationship between physical and spiritual, and how the physical is here to heal the spirit, and the spirit is here to heal the physical. And by honoring that connection, we actually remove the fear of death. We actually transcend death. And imagine how many things you would do, how much of your great, infinite divine self would you expose and do wonderful things if you didn't have the fear of death or loss or abandonment or rejection. Then think of, why that is. Why is there a connection between internalized fear and self-limiting behavior? Internalized fear or feelings of unworthiness and our ability to treat others with the sense of value that we really honestly hold for them and that they hold in our lives. But we have a failure to express them because we're still operating on our wounds, our feelings of doubt and not worth, So please read the Instagram post for just more stuff on the download of this new moon today here in Libra, as well as some of the other transits that are taking place, like the opposition between the moon in Libra and Chiron, Aries. But yeah, also just love yourself and honor yourself, and know that the relationship with others starts with the relationship with self. The relationship with others starts with your relationship with God, Goddess, Spirit. Your sense of power and self-empowerment comes from understanding the relationship between your light and your darkness, you know, how you wish to be perceived and that which hides in the shadows. And honoring both sides of that and balancing them makes you a whole person instead of just one half of a person. And when you just meet half people, you're always wondering what the fuck's wrong with the other thing. Also, half people attract other half people. So unless you're really down to raise a whole person, which you can't because you're also a half person when you're operating without acknowledgement or respect of your shadow, then, you know, we got a bunch of half people rolling around. And that's not relating. That's enmeshment. That's codependency. And interdependency is what we are really looking to understand and experience. So give yourself the best possible ability to do that and understand how all of your parts are interrelated and interconnected and totally necessary, so that it gives other people that same sense of, yeah, I have those things too, and they are necessary. And I do see the connection between them, and I'm pumped about it. Anyway, thank you so much. All the bless. I am available for readings. If you want to request a reading, you can do it through my website, Anmchara Astrology.com. You can also hit me up on IG. I also will be posting, but feel free to reach out, because every time I try to do something on my website, it just takes so much longer. It's just whatever. But I have education / chart reading experiences, offerings, so that people can not just understand their chart once and leave and then forget about it, but have a chart reading and then check in and learn more about astrology as it pertains specifically to their chart. So it's a combination of, you know, giving you fish and also teaching you how to fish, which there's also a huge benefit in that too. This is not just my knowledge, it's just something that I've been doing for a lot of lifetimes, and I'm happy to share it with you now. So again, stay blessed, hug yourself, hug your partner. Also, listen to Rasa Leela's, I'll put a link somewhere. I already put it on my Twitter, so please follow me on Twitter. But yeah, Rasa Leela's new Moon Libra download is so amazing. One of my favorite things that I just think is worth its weight in gold is this term, separation rituals. Because we have these rituals of coming together, right? Birthday party, celebration. But we also need to honor these rituals that we do, so that when we separate consciously with other, so that we can maintain our own individual, you know, sovereign self, you know? We're not gonna agree on all things. We're not always into the same things. We honor and we support and we come together in the places that we do connect and overlap. And then we should have like a disembarking, you know, journey, process, ritual that allows the I and other to separate without feeling like a nagging need to, like, oh, let me hold on for a little bit longer. Like, I didn't get it all out. It's like, yeah, we're going to come back to this. We're going to come back to partnership. We're just in this partnership, we're moving away into our own individual processes, because we need individual time to integrate things and honor the different speeds at which we integrate changes, you know, revelations, clearing cycles, all that kind of stuff. Like, we don't all move at the same time. We don't all into the same things. We're not supposed to be. So giving yourself space, giving other person space, and ritualizing that coming together and moving apart, so necessary. So everyone, please say thank you to Rasa Lila. Oh, that's a really big acorn that just went crazy on that. Yeah, thank Rasa Lila. Thank, thank yourself for the work. This is some soul level work we're doing, friends, and I'm excited for the soul of humanity to come back online because, we've been holding her down and keeping her captive and not listening to her, and that's what has caused a lot of dissociation and dis-ease in our experience. So it is related. The question to is it related? Is what related? The answer is it's all related, friends. And that's what this new moon is teaching us. Thank you again. I'm Elise Anmchara for Anmchara Astrology. I'll see you next time.